Spring is finally starting to get into full swing around here, so I figured I would go into some details about some beginner-friendly chicken breeds because in the spring, everyone wants to go out and get new chicks for their flock. And plus this year especially, there have been a lot of new people getting into the chicken hobby. So we're gonna go over some breeds that are good for beginners and good for children. I do want to put on a quick disclaimer though. There are many different kinds of chicken breeds, so just because I'm going over a few today doesn't mean there aren't other breeds out there that are super friendly and good for children. These are just a few I wanted to start with, and since they're ones I have personal experience with, I felt it was appropriate to go over those. But please keep in mind that just like all people and just like all animals, each chicken is going to be an individual and they might not always fully meet the typical breed standard. Personalities for any breed can and will vary. Also, don't mind how it's a little bit muddy in here. It has literally rained for about a week straight, so we are finally having a nice sunny day, so I figured it was time to film. So we are going to start off with one of my personal favorites and a breed that I will always have in my flock, and that is the Speckled Sussex. This is Cornflower. She's one of my main character chickens, and you can see she's acting a little bit fussy right now. That's because she's broody. She doesn't go broody as often as my Silkies do. I'd say she goes broody about maybe once a year, but it's definitely not the norm for her. As the name suggests, Speckled Sussex chickens are a brown chicken with beautiful white speckling across their feathers. When they're young, they start off kind of plain looking, but as they age with each molt, they will develop more white speckling. I took her out of her nesting box, so she might be a little bit fussy since she's broody, but we need to feature you, Cornflower. The Speckled Sussex originated in Sussex, England, and it is said that Dorkings and possibly Cochins and Malays were used to create the breed. This breed is known to be both heat and cold hardy, and I have had Cornflower for 5 years now, and I've never had her have any illnesses or any issues. So I would say, with my personal experience at least, this tends to be a very healthy breed. Hens weigh about 6 to 7 pounds, with roosters, of course, being on the larger side. They're usually a pound or two more. And on average, this breed has been known to live for 6 to 9 years. They lay a medium to large light brown egg, and they typically lay about 200 to 250 eggs per year, which is pretty good for a backyard chicken. Here's a picture of what Cornflower looked like as a baby. And it's a shame that she's broody right now because her true personality is not going to shine through on this video. But if you follow my channel, you'll know that she's in countless videos, so you can see more of her in my other videos. But one of the reasons why this is a favorite breed of mine is not only because they're good producers and they're pretty hardy, but they are so friendly. Cornflower is not afraid of anything. She's very nosy. I always say she's a good host because she's one of the first ones to greet me whenever I walk in here. She's nosy. She likes to follow me around. Even as a chick, she would always be one of the first ones to try to jump out of the brooder when I would open up the door or take off the lid. And she would just want to hang out or sit on my arm. It's definitely a breed with a very big personality. Very comical, entertaining chickens, very chatty, but not loud. So they could do well in a neighborhood unless you have a rooster, which roosters of pretty much any breed are going to be loud. When she's not broody, I would describe her as very cheerful. But even when she is broody, like right now, she's not nasty at all. Some hens get real nasty when they're broody, and you know, that's kind of normal. It's just their hormones kicking into gear and telling them to be protective of their nest so that they can ensure the survival of the next generation, so it's totally normal. But she doesn't get like that. She does not peck at me when I go to take the eggs. She's pretty chill even when she's broody. If you get a Speckled Sussex, they will definitely like to be all up in your business, but if you want a really social, fun, interactive chicken, then that's a good one to go with. The next breed we're going to discuss is the Orpington. Buff Orpingtons are probably the most common color of Orpington, but more and more colors are becoming more common as the breed gains popularity. This right here is Marigold. She is my lavender Orpington. She is 5 years old. Here's a picture of her as a chick. I think the best way to describe Orpingtons is very kind. She is a very kind, ladylike, quiet bird, very calm, very gentle. They say that Orpingtons go broody a lot and make really good moms. I've had a lot of people tell me this with theirs. Mine has never gone broody, but that's fine. She is not a dominant bird by any means, but despite that, she does not get picked on either. She somehow has gone her whole life, as far as I've seen, and I'm out here a lot with them, avoiding drama and just getting along with everyone. She is very quiet. She's pretty hardy. I haven't had any issues with her. I've heard some people say Orpingtons can be sensitive to the heat, but as long as you give them proper shelter and proper water, they should be fine. Orpingtons originated in Great Britain during the 1800s, and they were developed by coachman William Cook, who was native to Orpington, Kent. It is said that black Plymouth Rocks and Minorcas were used to create this breed. They lay about 150 to 200 medium brown eggs a year, and their average lifespan is 5 to 8 years. I'd say this is probably one breed you absolutely cannot go wrong with if you're a beginner chicken keeper, or if you have kids, or if you just want something that's really quiet and calm and easy to manage. It's a very patient breed, and with proper handling when they're young, because any chick you're gonna have to get used to people, they tame up super easy. They enjoy to be around their owners. They like to be held. They love sitting on your lap and, being carried around, so they'll be a more tolerant breed if you have kids. It's just a very peaceful breed of chicken, and it's a breed that I will always have in my flock. But I want to keep these breed profiles kind of quick and to the point, so let's move on to the next one now. And the next one we're going to discuss is the Silky. Silkies are extremely popular. They can be a little bit more sensitive with their care requirements compared to standard breeds. But honestly, if you have the time and the setup for it, Silkies are a joy to have. I love them so much. They are definitely one of my favorite breeds. And in the beginning of the video when I was talking about broody hens, Silkies are very, very prone to going broody. This is Honeysuckle. She is currently broody at this time. So this would be a really good breed if you have children and you just want something easy and simple for them to carry around and maybe show in 4-H clubs. This is a flightless bird because of their silky feathers. But because their feathers are so unique, they do require a little bit more care. You have to keep them nice and warm and dry in the winter. You can't let them be soaked for long periods of time because that will affect them faster than a bird with regular feathers. Some Silkies will get heads that are so fluffy that they can't see, so you might have to trim the feathering around their eyes so that they can see where they're going and properly evade predators. And some Silkies are also prone to vitamin deficiencies, so you may need to supplement their diet and also provide them with a higher protein feed. But honestly, in the almost 5.5 years that I've had Silkies, I have not had any of them have any issues with vitamins. But it is something to educate yourself on and keep in mind if you're going to get into this breed. It may not be the most productive breed, so if you want them just for eggs, I would not recommend getting a Silky. When my Silkies aren't broody, they lay almost every day, and their eggshells are pretty hard, so it's a good quality eggshell, but the eggs are tiny because it's a small breed. And just like other hens, when they're broody, which in this case of the Silky it's often, they are not going to lay eggs during that broody period. So there is apparently a debate over Silky size. I am in the United States, and here they are considered a bantam, but I've heard in other parts of the world they have standard size Silkies and bantam size Silkies. Silkies can live for about 7 to 9 years. They're chatty, very, very pleasant personalities, happy little birds, very, very sweet, very calm, not known to be aggressive at all. But like I said, since they are prone to going broody, sometimes broody hens will act a little bit nutty because they want to protect eggs and chicks, so keep that in mind. But all of my Silkies have gone broody before, and none of them have shown any aggression. This breed is so tiny and sweet that they're not going to do too well with breeds that are prone to being aggressive, such as Rhode Island Reds. You might want to avoid keeping them with those. The breed originated in China, and a really cool feature about them is that they have black skin and black bones, and they actually considered their meat to be healing and medicinal in China if you consume them. Now, I think Silkies are too cute. I do eat chicken, not my own, but I don't think I could ever have the heart to eat a Silky. They're just way too cute. They lay about 100 to 150 eggs per year, but like I said earlier, when they're not broody, I have found my Silkies to be surprisingly productive. They definitely like hanging out with their owners. It's a good breed that would let you carry it around, or if you want to snuggle with a chicken, it's a good breed for that. So, like I said, a great option for kids, but just make sure with any animal, if you get a pet for your kids, make sure you as the parent or guardian is going to supervise them and actually help them to make sure the animal is getting proper care, especially since sometimes Silkies need a little bit of extra attention. Since this breed is so prone to going broody, they are a really good choice if you plan on getting chicks and raising them on a regular basis. You might not want those chicks in your house, so you could always give them to your broody hen and let her raise them. If you want to know how to do that safely and successfully, I have a couple videos on my channel about how to do that, so make sure you check that out. As I was saying earlier, Silkies can sometimes be prone to vitamin deficiencies, so something you might want to keep on hand could be Nutri-Drench or Rooster Booster Poultry Cell vitamin supplements. If you want to learn more about Silky care, some showing tips if you want to show Silkies, and more about their feed or supplements you could use for them, check out the link to the video in the description below where I go to a talk that Starry Acres Silky owner gave about the breed. She has raised Silkies for many, many years. She has a ton of them, so she knows what she's talking about. She has a wealth of information, so I highly recommend you check out that video. Another good option is the black oustrolorp. Black oustrolorps originated in Australia. It is kind of like Australia's version of their Orpington. In fact, it is a black oustrolorp that holds the world record for the most eggs laid consecutively. A black oustrolorp is said to have laid 364 eggs over the course of 365 days, setting a world record. Black oustrolorps lay a large brown egg, and oustrolorps come in quite a few different colors now. I'll list them on the screen below. They are both heat and cold tolerant, a very hardy and healthy breed. They're really pretty because, let's zoom in here, in the sunlight, their black feathers kind of shine with green, purple, and sometimes blue iridescent feathers, so I really love that feature. They sometimes go broody. They typically lay over 300 eggs a year, and it is said that they arrived in North America around the 1920s. Hens are pretty large. They lay around 5 to 7 pounds. And they can live between 6 and 7 years on average. This is Manuka, and I believe she's about 4 years old now. Really sweet, quiet bird, gets along with everyone. No drama, just like my Orpington. She seems to be pretty intelligent too. Just an easy bird to handle. Really no problems with her. And as a chick, she was quite easy to tame as well. Here's a picture of her as a baby. And then next we're going to look at a breed known as the king of poultry, or in this case the queen because this is my hen, the Brahma chicken. This is a buff Brahma, this one in the middle here. The other common colors include light Brahmas and dark Brahmas. They have feathered feet, very fluffy large chicken. Their ancestors originated in China and were brought to the USA in the mid-1800s, and from there the breed was developed into what we know it as today. Brahma hens can weigh anywhere from 7 to 12 pounds. Roosters can be very large for this breed. They're dual purpose and can be used for their eggs or their meat. The hens will lay around 150 to 200 very large brown eggs a year. They are very, very cold hardy, and you can see she has a small pea comb there, which means that she is a lot less likely to be prone to frostbite because of her small comb, which is nice, and her feathered legs help keep her warm as well. So it's a great breed if you live in a cold climate. It is said that Malays and Cochins were possibly used to help develop this breed, which is probably why they're so calm and quiet and friendly, because those are docile breeds. On average, Brahmas can live for about 5 to 8 years. Hens tend to be very quiet and gentle and sweet, easy to handle. And there are bantam versions of the Brahma, so if you don't want a big one, you can find a bantam one. This is Mrs. Danvers, and she's about a year old now. Here's a picture of her as a chick. And now we're going to talk about Easter eggers, which is this one right here. I actually have a few, but that's Snapdragon. And then this one is a true Americana, and the reason I bring her up is because of this. A lot of hatcheries sell Easter eggers listed as Americana, and they're spelled this way. When they're spelled this way, it is technically a mutt or an Easter egger. A true Americana, which is going to be much more rare and more expensive, is spelled this way. So now that we know the difference, because that confuses a lot of people, let's talk about Easter eggers because they're a lot easier and cheaper to find, so we'll use them for the sake of this video since it's aimed towards beginner and kid-friendly breeds. Here is Bluebell, my other Easter egger. And as a mutt, Easter eggers come in a variety of colors and patterns, which makes them really fun, but they all tend to have those cute, fluffy little cheeks and beards. Now, a true Americana is going to lay blue eggs, but Easter eggers, since they're a mix, can lay either a blue egg, a green egg, or a pinkish-brown egg. And they can be in various shades. However, keep in mind that an Easter egger cannot rotate between all of those colors. She's only going to lay one color for life. They lay about 200 to 280 eggs a year, and eggs can be anywhere from medium to large. And since they're a mix, their lifespan can vary greatly as well as their attitudes. They can live anywhere from 4 to 10 years, and on average, this is a very friendly, social, fun breed. They're curious, they're nosy, they're easy to tame, But I do like to put that disclaimer on, they're a mix. So sometimes you can get the oddball that might not be as friendly, maybe a little bit more flighty. But in my experience, mine have all been pretty friendly. And mine have all been very decent layers, so I've been happy with them. I have found them to be quite hardy. Easter are typically half Americana and then mixed with any kind of breed that's usually a light brown egg-laying breed. If you mix an Americana with a dark brown egg-laying breed, you're going to get what's known as an olive egger, and they're going to lay either a dark green egg or a dark brown egg. On average, the hens weigh about 4 to 6 pounds. I have not had any issues with mine in the summer or in the winter, so from my experience, they have been pretty heat and cold tolerant with proper care, of course, proper shelter. And their unique egg colors make them a lot of fun, as well as their unique and varying appearance since they can come in so many different colors. Here's some pictures of different Americana / Easter eggers as chicks. And most feed stores or hatcheries do have Easter eggers available. Right, Marigold? And then before we end, I want to give an honorable mention to this hen right here. She is a Salmon Frel, and it's a breed that is pretty rare actually. As the name suggests, Salmon Frels come in this light salmon color for the females, but the roosters are mostly black. It is a French breed, and they're very cold hardy. Mine do very well laying eggs in the winter. You can see, oh look, she got camera shy. You can see that they have an extra toe like a Silky. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. And they have feathered legs. Don't mind the mud. It rained for a week straight. I wouldn't say it's the brightest breed out there, but that's part of their charm. Mine are really, really sweet. They're chatty, but not overly loud. Their voice is a little bit different sounding from other birds. I think that they sound really cute. I enjoy the little noises that they make. And they're just not aggressive at all. I mean, I guess that's possible for any chicken to be aggressive, but mine have not been. I never see them peck anyone. They do rank pretty low, so do not mix them with aggressive breeds. And they're just sweet and cuddly and lovable and charming. And one cute thing is that sometimes they like to hop, and that's pretty cute. It looks like they're skipping. A lot of people say, what is a standard size breed that's safe to mix with Silkies? And I would definitely recommend the Salmon Frel. My Salmon Frels are best friends with my Silkies. And there is actually a bantam version of these, but I have the standard version of the Salmon Frels. Their eggs often have a pinkish tint to it, which I think is really pretty. And I'm going to put some more fun facts about them on the screen right now. But I feel like this is another breed that you just can't go wrong with if you're just getting into chickens or if you have children that want to be hands-on with them because, oh, there's my Americana Lark. She wanted a close-up. But anyways, they're sweet, they're easy to handle, they're nice birds. They only live for about 5 to 6 years on average. I would not free range these because they are not predator savvy. They are not the brightest, like I said earlier. But they make really, really good pets and they're decent layers, especially in the winter time. Oh, and in case you're wondering, look out, Marigold. This is what I gave them. I only give them treats like this in moderation because they're high in fat, so you don't want your birds to get overweight. But it has some healthy stuff in there too. Got some different grubs in there, but this is what I've been giving them for the video to help keep them focused for the camera. Just a small amount. Then if you saw this in the background, it got pretty warm out here filming, so I took off my coat and I hung it on their shepherd's hook. So I don't normally have stuff like that sitting out in their coop. But I'm going to wrap it up for now. Like I said, there's many breeds out there and there's even more information you can learn about the breeds I mentioned here. I just wanted to go over my personal experience with them and the average basic information that you needed to know about them. Make sure you subscribe because if you guys like this video, I'll make more breed profiles moving forward. And make sure you check out my other videos on my channel because I have a lot of different care guides and tips on there as well. And one quick little bonus thing before we go, look at this. I thought this was neat to show you. One of my hens laid what is known as a fairy egg. I think some people also call them a fart egg. But once in a while, for whatever reason, a hen will lay a very small egg known as a fairy egg. So here is that compared to a normal sized chicken egg. It doesn't mean that your bird is sick. It doesn't necessarily mean anything's wrong with your bird. Sometimes it just happens, but it can be more common with old chickens or very young new layers. But I thought that was neat, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. Now that it looks like spring is finally here to stay, and it finally stopped raining for a little bit, I'm going to get to work spreading some of this hardwood undyed mulch in their run and try to clean up some of that mud and make it look nicer. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, you can check out some of my videos from years past where I did their spring makeover in the run and see how nice that turned out. I always enjoy doing that.